Now, the Nelson Mandela Bay is heading towards day zero as the dam levels in the area are now at their lowest. Government and Gift of the Givers have partnered to find alternative water sources with dam levels at 2.3%. What are the alternative plans? Joining us is Joseph Tsatsire, the Municipal Director of Water Distribution. Mr. Tsatsire, thank you so much for joining us and giving us your time this afternoon. Now, Nelson Mandela Bay has not had good rains for more than 7 years, and you've seen a sharp increase in water consumption from across sectors, be it residential, business, or any others. What suddenly has caused this sharp rise in water usage in that area?
Good afternoon to your viewers. Thank you very much for the opportunity. Rightly say that I think the city hasn't received, been receiving below average rainfall for the past 7 years. And obviously, this has caused a deterioration in our dam levels. And we are currently, urging residents to reduce their consumption. Obviously, probably around last year or so, our consumption was sitting at about 300 megaliters on a daily basis. We have managed, to persuade residents and implement other interventions to reduce the consumption to around 278 megaliters on a daily basis. And obviously, we still need to reduce more and probably to meet our production levels of around 230 megaliters on a daily basis. So there are quite a number of interventions that we are implementing to ensure that, we reduce, our consumption and ensure that we push day zero away, in the areas that's going to be affected.
Now, Dr. Andre Heffer, who's a sustainability engineer and geohydrologist at the Nelson Mandela University's Department of Geosciences, says there were several factors that had led to the water crisis. He mentions cyclical droughts, poor planning for long-term, sustainable water supply, and a lack of diverse water sources. Are these the findings of the municipality as well?
Obviously, I think over the years, there has been quite a number of interventions which we have implemented in order to diversify, our water mix. For quite some time, we have been relying on surface water, that is the dams, to actually give, water to our residents. But I think since 2010, we have begun to invest into groundwater development. And those projects we actually begin to implement, around 2016. And some of those projects are going to be giving us water, around, September this year. So there is an ongoing diversification investment into our water schemes to an extent that we are even at an advanced stage for the implementation of desalination, which obviously is going to add to our water mix and, reduce the impact of, cyclic droughts, going forward.
Now, Mr. Tsatsire, you can imagine that this is a very frustrating process, especially for residents. And many residents are blaming the local government, saying that there's no proper planning around this crisis. They say that the moment there's a little bit of rain that comes in, government stops with the implementation of their plans. Then added to that, 25 to 30% of water is lost due to water leaks that are caused by failing infrastructure. The water tankers that are being sent to communities either at times only supply 2,500 liters of water to 5,000 households or are a no-show for up to 4 days.
So, as I say, there has been systematic planning that has been implemented since 1992 to increase, the water mix into the metro. And they are actually testimony to some of the projects, that has been planned as of then. And we continue to implement and provide, long-term projects, that will actually provide the resilience in the future. There is quite a number of interventions in the short term, as I said. Obviously, they might not be seen to be adequate because people are used to tap water. But I think in areas that we have got, dams that has run dry, we have, implemented what we call an emergency continuity plan. And obviously that would deviate from the normal running tap water. And we will actually then have people actually collecting basic water, from rainwater tanks, as well as, storage installations, which we encourage, in a regulated fashion to ask residents to go and collect water. I do accept that there are probably frustrating times for residents, obviously, because that's not the norm which they are used to. But I think at this point in time, we are doing all we can to ensure that, there is continuity of basic water supply to our residents, as well as water for economic production. Other projects that we are implementing now, like the groundwater, which is going to come into effect around September, will go a long way in actually reducing, some of the interventions, the basic interventions which we are doing now, and we return back to normality in terms of supplying water through the taps.
Now, according to your knowledge, how far away are we from day zero in Nelson Mandela Bay?
Obviously, in the past 3 weeks, for example, we had our dams, sitting at 12.1%, which effectively meant that, we had just 2% of water into our dams. And then, 3 weeks ago, we are talking about, 10 to about 48 days, depending which dam are you looking at. But obviously, we have received quite a bit of rain, which has actually pushed, our average dams to about 14.8%. And this means that we actually have put quite a bit of water into our system, and we are looking at an average of about 100 days or so that we have. But again, with the other interventions that are being pursued now, we are actually looking to push that number way into the future, and we are hoping that around September, with other interventions, we will never be able to say day zero. And I need to qualify that when we say day zero, it's only 40% of the city that gets water from Churchill as well as in Mpofu Dam that's going to be affected, and 60% will still continue to have water from other sources which are not affected by drought as we speak.
Now, Mr. Tsatsire, Mayor Jordan Hill-Lewis from the city of Cape Town has extended a helping hand, as we know that in 2018 they had their fair share of dry taps and they were able to avert day zero. They have now offered a team of disaster risk management officials as well as technical and engineering teams to come in and assist whichever way possible using their own past experiences. Have you received this help? And if so, has it assisted in any way?
You mentioned that, we have been working with the city of Cape Town since July last year, 2021. We had actually, their technical team that were actually peer reviewing some of our interventions that we are happening. And I think we are implementing some of those. We continue to have open line, with the technical team from city of Cape Town. If there is any other formal arrangement that is actually being pursued, obviously, through the executive mayor, will actually accept that. But as I speak, we have been working with the city of Cape Town. Even part of the national interventions, we have actually, have the services of the former executive director for city of Cape Town, who was at the heart of the drought then. She is currently in the city, assisting, with the implementation of some of those interventions. So we have been actually talking to City of Cape Town from a technical perspective, and we are actually peer learning from each other, and we continue to implement and to draw parallels, in terms of, the initiatives they went through.
All right. Thank you so much. That Mr. Joseph Tsatsire from the Nelson Mandela Bay. He is the Municipal Director of Water Distribution, just giving us an update with regards to the approaching of day zero and what interventions that municipality is putting in place to avert dry taps in that area.